Good afternoon, Natalia. Thank you for joining us in the festival and to this talk.
It's a big honor for me also to be on in Dokkaebi Festival. I would prefer to be in live. You know, this was the only festival I really wanted to visit in live, in person.
Soon. Let's do it soon, hopefully. And I want to...
It will take another 4 years to come
Yeah.
to make another film.
It took that long for this movie for Garage People? 4 years. The shooting itself, how long was it?
The shooting period is told to be 30 days, but if we are really honest, it took much longer, the shooting period. We had an disaster that the cinematographer, the one who was shooting the movie, he jumped from the garage and then he broke his feet, and we got another 7 days from the insurance to shoot another period. So we were very lucky to finish our stories because there would be only 2 periods of time. We have been shooting over 3 periods. It's summer, autumn. Then it was winter in the middle of February, so a very cold season. And then it was spring, and we wouldn't have at all spring. So no of our stories would end, basically.
Yeah.
Always, I think, fault to think you can shoot a documentary in 25 days. You know, you have to be very near to the people. You have to get in touch with them. You have somehow to have a relationship and to follow up their stories, even if their stories are not developing. You know, a lot of people were asking me in Germany, what is the developing of your characters? You know, and I said, my developing is the stagnation, you know, and they said, but this is not the developing. I said, this is also developing, you know.
Yeah, and but the research, of course, took a lot more than a few weeks. It looks like a relationship that was developed for years between you.
It was that I get to know them while shooting. I was I was second director on a fiction movie, and I was responsible for characters. Yeah. So I was in search of different things, of faces, of people, and I always ended up in the garages to look for fish, to go to the sauna, to buy something. You know, it was always the life was happening in the garage. So while walking 3 months on this fiction movie, I understood that the real life is the garage life. So the people spend more time in the garages. The people live in the garages. The people, this is their free space of like living their dreams, you know. It's not the blocks of the houses of the gray houses which they used to live or to sleep, but this is at the garage where they make their own walls, their own castles,
their own kingdom. Or I would say I think you said it in one of the interviews. It's like a cave, a man cave, so talking about that, looking at this movie, I had this feeling of symbolism that it starts and not end, but close to the end of the movie. With Victor, when we see him at not really at the opening, but close to the opening of the movie, we see his own cave that he digged for five stores, I think, his garage, and he died near the end. And at the beginning, he said, I don't know why I keep digging. At the end, I think it was Sergei, that when they talked about him going to the hospital or taken to the hospital, he said he gave up the garage too quickly. Oh. You need to take it gradually. Yeah. So what are these garages for these people? Like, is it some kind of like the present life, to keep something in the present, to feel like they are active? Or is it somehow a nostalgic feeling for another past, for the maybe the Soviet past, I don't know, for a better one.
So the protagonist and how you felt them, that they are really, this garage is the main point of their life. So if they stop with the garage, they basically die or they give up. So for me, the garage is the place which keep them alive, or which the place for the Russians to feel free, or to fulfill their dreams. The only place which is left to be not somehow censored, or to be, no one interferes in what you're doing there. You're completely free in a small scale, of course. You have the small freedom to fulfill everything you like, or to make everything you want. This is not only hobbies, it's not about the hobbies. Yeah. It's more. It's about the sense of life. Every one of us wants to fulfill that themselves, and this is what they are basically also doing, and that's why it makes us so. It looks so familiar to us, in some kind, because we understand it. Because every one of us is longing also for some kind of freedom, and this is what the people are doing there. So of course there are people who just put their cars apart, but it was not interesting for me. The thing was for me to find this percentage of people who live their dreams, or who live their life in the garage to fulfill their longings.
So, so you are talking about the sentiment of feeling you have a value in your life, a center to your life. But do you feel that also the way they, can you relate to the feeling that this movie is bringing? When they talk about the minds even, it's not really in a negative way, I felt. Something is still drawn, they are still drawn to the past. And also thinking about it, when people are deciding to leave the town, they are staying there. They are keep in their place. So you feel they have this sentiment also with the past?
This is an area which involved in the 20s, 30s. It was a Soviet area where they brought up in the Stalinist area, where they brought the workers to work in like a labor camps. So it is not really a place where people were born, or where people they were born, of course, there, but it's not a generation. It was not their home-based place, So you feel like the people are lost. They have no roots in some kind, and you feel that they have nowhere to go except their garage. So this is like the center of their universe, and of a kind of think what you're saying, that they don't want to leave because this is their main place or main thing to survive. And I think people ask me also, will they come to Berlinale, because the film had its premiere on the Berlinale. Will they come to the Berlinale? Of course not. They're not interested to go anywhere. It's for them. They're so based in their garage. They're so in it. They make everything by their hands, which is also so different to us.
The close-up of their hands, which is something that it was astonishing for me, because in a way you can feel this movie, you can think about it theoretically as as an observation from the outside, but you keep on showing their hands, even I would say the rotten or the bruised hands. So I think this close-up is what you're talking about, the way that you are really focusing on them, on the active.
Yeah, and it was also fascinating for me. We live in such a fast society in digitalization, how we talk with each other now, So everything is so much about the telephone, about talking on internet and everything. And these people, they don't have even a phone, They're so based to their hands, to their everyday lifetime, to the moment. They isolate themselves in the garage. It's not about our isolation, where we isolate us because we are forced to. They isolate themselves because they want it. So it's a decision. It's a decision to survive in this system, to survive in Russia by isolating yourself, doing what you really love. So it's not only, you know, people said to me, oh, you show this crazy Russians, you know. It's not the crazy Russians. For me, these are loved people by me, you know. All of them are loved and all of them are special. And they are not, I wouldn't say they're behind or they're, you know, this is, every one of us is similar and this is how they adopt.
But we talked about if we're talking about the past and of course the present, talking about the future, do you feel that this movie is in some way an elegy of the farewell for another world? Because the young generation, it seems, are getting far away from it. I don't know, maybe because they are not the focus of the movie. But did you feel while shooting it, or maybe after in the editing, this maybe the farewell from a generation?
No.
No.
It's also young people. It was very important for me to have young people, like the one who are having the band. They're basically young. Also the soldiers who are dressed up in the German uniform, they are also young. And also the Ilya who is collecting scrap, he's also young. So, and Victor's, from the Victor, the grandchild is also young, you know. So it's not about, it's about the whole society. I never say where it takes place because it doesn't matter for me where it takes place. It could be in Moscow, it could be near Vladivostok. This doesn't matter. You find garages everywhere. It's about the system, about the life of these people, about how you deal with the system which leaves no space anymore to be a human being, you know. So you stay in your four walls where you stay still a human being without going on a bigger scale or without playing in these games of this system, of this society.
We have a question, a beautiful question from our viewers. It's interesting, though not surprising, that only the men use those garages while the women stay at home. Can you tell what is the relationship of the women with the garages? Do they envy their men for this personal space they have, or resent the garages for taking their men?
So it's both. You saw Pavel's wife, now who was very angry him going to the garage because he also drinks in the garage. So it's very much, you going to the garage, you spend all your time, you're not at home, you know. So it's like the envy, and they also, it's like, who comes first, the wife or the garage, you know?
Yeah, about it. The couple.
Yes.
Victor and his wife, not Victor.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they're talking about it even.
Yeah, and this is like she loses him for the garage. So the garage comes first, and then comes her. But she doesn't. She also doesn't understand nothing about his artistic mind. You know. So it's not only the garage; it's also more in there. So the women have their space at home more, and it's more a man cave. So it's a man place. To work with the hands, to be loud, to construct something, to dig there some metal, to work with the workshop. So this is more the man's place. But we see also women. I had this woman who having these dogs inside of the garage. I have this woman who has opened her second floor garage. She's having a small garden in front. So there are some women, but it's more a man's place. And women are mostly attached then to a man who has the garage. So they're spending also part of their time in the garage, but it's a man's garage of their husband or. You know.
But thinking about it, it makes me wonder, and there is one question that follows this, moving to inside, from the garages to inside the homes or other spaces. So the question is, So the movie really created the feeling that the garages comprise a different universe. Almost an hour into the film, however, the exclusive focus on this universe is abandoned and the film transitions to the homes of the characters, etc. Also, the restaurant scene, the beautiful restaurant scene. What caused you to make this transition?
So for me, first, it was important to stay in the garage because for me, it was important to give you the feeling of getting into this very narrow spaces without any windows, you know, to lose yourself in this area, to see that this is actually the main place where they spend their life. But then to tell you the life of Pavel, to tell why he spends so much life in the garage and why what kind of life he has at home, and that he doesn't belong somehow more in the garage than he belongs home, and that he belongs to his friends with whom he talks, you know, the one who is digging and the one who is making the golden pellets. So he's more home with his friends. He's more home in the garage. So I had to enter, to go out. And it was my decision to go out in the later time. It was also the time when I was shooting it. So it was the winter time when I was outside, when I was at their homes, and that's what I showed. And also for Victor, Victor gave up his garage. He was very apathic. He was not there anymore. And this scene, it was very important for me to show his set of health, or his set of not being there anymore, and his wife, because for me it was the most caring love affair between them two, and she caring so much for him, and she tries to lift him up, but he's already done with the world. So it was important to go out for me.
Yes, the titles at the end is really heart and breaking, I think, that you write that she died almost a year after him. So
it was a total shock. I even now have a goose, you know, because she was so young and she was doing sports and she was so. And then she said to me when I was there already when she was at the grave, she said to me, "You know what? I have liver cirrhosis. I can't understand how can I have it. I'm so healthy. I'm so young. I'm only 60 something, you know." And it was so heartbreaking for me to understand that it all comes from this mind walk.
Yeah, and by the way, did the grandchild of Victor, did he move to the garage? I mean, moved and continue the work there? I mean, the digging?
No, like you saw when he was showing it to his friend, I was not expecting that he would make you know, he will close it down, the lower part. Mm-hmm. He will leave only one floor, and he closed completely the lower part and say, "I'm throwing there some garbage. Don't go there. There's like crap." So he just really closed it down, and you know, he's a little bit talking. Yeah, it's sad that we didn't finish, but at the end, he doesn't need it, and this is also somehow the sad end of the story, that his grandfather was digging and digging and building, and at the end no one needs it, you know. And also,
Natalia, it's so symbolic that this was the decision. Talking very generally, I noticed, especially in last years, the documentaries from especially Eastern Europe, Russia, Ukraine, Poland, has this two leading characteristics. The first one is harsh honesty. I would call it sobriety, which fits well to this movie, this dry humor, but also pondering, this poesis, not only by a person like Ilya, who wants to be a poet or is a poet, but from all the participants even. So can you see this tradition, looking at them, talking with them? Did you notice it? Is this like Eastern European or Russian for you, very generally speaking?
I was asked very often about that, also while the Berlinale and by the audience, and they said, "Why they're talking so philosophically?" You know. And then I went home to my mom, and she was brought up in Kiev in Ukraine. So I said, "What should I say? They're all asking me this question." And she said to me, "Just tell them that every Russian person is a little bit a philosopher." And this is really a Russian sense of, you know, a sense of being, maybe to be a little bit. We say it in schwermütig, to have this deep soul, deep tragedy, to at the same time to be funny about yourself, to have this own humor about yourself. What, how, when the three old men are talking to each other, you know, and he's saying like, we have as many plans as we have life, you know. And then the other said, they think I'm a fool, and maybe I'm a fool, yeah, you know. And this is like all. I don't. You can't create this kind of dialogues. People said to me, "Where did you take these dialects?" I would never imagine to have this kind of dialects. This is like a. This is the luck or the beauty or the magic of documentary.
Yeah, so it was just there in the characters. They were just being themselves in all this deepness, and this is what I think is the not the opposite. What this is what differentiates this to men talk. They really talk about their emotions. If we talk stereotypically about men talk, they talk differently.
And
So,
it was important for me. So the first part of the shooting, I was like looking for the characters. The second part of the movie, I already wanted to dive in their wishes and their problems and their sense of life. You know, it was important to get very close to them, to have this close pictures, to have their wishes for life, maybe, or to their sorrows, like. The Ilyas from Vitalik, the one who walks with Ilya on the scrap, he says that his wife died or his girlfriend died, was burned to death. And this makes it understandable because he's wise, he's beautiful person, you know, why he became a drinker, you know. This makes it understandable for us, and it was very important for me to bring this person up, you know. Yeah, they always talk about, yeah, should we beat him, you know. He's nothing, he's less than a dog for them, you know. And this is, but he's actually my hero, you know. He's actually the hero of the movie, you know, and he's the one who's the most wisest of this company of them talking and beating each other, you know, and everything. So for me, he is a treasure, and it was important for me. And it was very sad that he died at 36. You know, I was 36 by that. So at this time I was 36. Now I'm 37. So it was the same age like me. It's unbelievable that someone can die at 36.
yeah, to give him a voice, you're saying. Of course, after his death, it's becoming even more deep. So, talking about Russian sentiments. So, I'm thinking about the scene where you talked about the fact that it's like timeless or placeless. It can be everywhere. But then you see Putin picture, Vladimir Putin's picture on the wall, the portrait, and it was Ilya, I think.
Yeah.
So, do you think? Did you try? Not a fair question, but did you try to talk about the Russia of today also with of course the general perspective of this place and people?
So for me, it's very clear that it's the Russia of today. So I made the film about Russia of today. It's on one hand, it's not political, but it's totally political for me. So if you make a film about today Russia, you make a film about today's Russia. This is like, and you think it's 50 years ago, or sometimes you think it could be, but it's it's this garish phenomena is the garish phenomena of Putin's Russia. This is like, for me, it's a total fact. And to tell the stories of the people is to tell the other story of Russia, not to tell it from above, not to tell a story about Putin, or not to tell the story about the oligarchs or Rublovka or some headlines of the news. Yeah, what are the normal people doing in the system? How they survive? How they adopt? And that people, for me, it was important that we're not having this Russia as an enemy. These people are like we're totally the same. These Russians, like we have the same longings, we have the same wish to live, to fulfill our dreams, you know. And this is how they adopt in this system, in this time of life.
Time of life, and they are really the people that are left behind by today's Russia. Another great question from the audience, from one of our viewers. Do you feel it was more difficult or more easy for you as a woman to get inside this man's world and to make them open up to the camera?
So on one hand, it was easier, of course, because they are also proud. The Russians or the people are kind of proud to show what they build up. So it was a kind of, oh, we will show you what we have. On the other hand, it was sometimes a little bit awkward to go by myself in this closed spaces. So I always tried to take someone, because it was also, I'm a Ukrainian who lives in Berlin. So I'm kind of an enemy also for the Russian way of looking at the world, you know. So it was, on the one hand, it was easy. On the other hand, it's also difficult like a woman, because no one takes you serious. And it's till the end, they were not really understanding for what I shoot this, you know. And there's like a beautiful picture where Pavel is walking in this beautiful nature, you know, going to fish. And it was like the most beautiful scenery for me, like the most beautiful picture. And then I had my earrings, what he talks, and he talks like, again, they're filming this shit, you know? So, till the end, it was their real life. Maybe this is why they look so honest or so real, because they don't really take care. They don't really understand. It's their everyday life, you know, what I shot. And when I told to Roman, Roman with Yulia, who has the chicken in his garage, I said to him, don't you want to come with Yulia because he's still together with Yulia, yeah? Don't you want to come to premiere with Yulia in February to Berlin? He said, to Berlin in February, you know, I want to take her to the sea and not to, you know, to a cold weather Germany. So,
a very practical way to look at it. It's like, for them, it's something that it's their life, and they don't want maybe to see it on screen. They will go their holiday to really take a step away from their daily life. So it's.
And he told to me, you know what? I already managed to take her to the sea. I took her to Turkey. It was so nice.
Do you know if he did?
He did. He took her to Turkey.
Well, to the seaside or to the beach. It's. I think it's a fair choice there. And you talk now about the people looking at it as from a more broad sense of Russia today, and you call that the movie the film in German is called Garagenvolk, which is the people in a more broad sense, not only people like individuals, but also like the society in a more broader way.
I would love also to leave it in English. So my wish was to leave Garagenvolk also in English, because you can kind of understand it. And that's also the sense of this film. This is a film about the society. These are different people from different layers of the society. So we have an engineer, we have an outcast, we have an old person who is retired. So we have different people from all different, and they're all in the garage, and it happens everywhere. We have more garages than we have flats. So this is like a phenomenon. It's a Garagenvolk.
Yeah. So we are close to the end, unfortunately. So my last question, I think, yeah. So maybe you know what? I want to read you something that someone wrote, and their name is Natalia. You know, they were interviewed. You were interviewed, and you said something like this. Now everyone is proud that I'm at the Berlinale, but it was very difficult to make this without money and without the guarantee of a place to show it. The problem is that long documentary isn't valued enough. The documentaries take time. It takes time to produce them and more time to edit them, and you cannot make a good film in 20 shooting days. We need to change this mentality. So first, thank you for saying that. And the second thing, are you now having, you're now starting a project, I think. So you think that now with this movie, it would be easier to get funding, or maybe your experience with it could handle now the fact that these kind of projects don't get enough funding?
You can't change the system, you know. I can't change the way of German television that we don't have any places to show festival documentaries. We just don't have any slot. There's no slot, basically one or two, I think, and they are like in the late evening. If we have no slot, if we're not getting money from the TV companies, we are not able to do this kind of documentaries. It's all was made on our shoulders, you know. It's all with not having money to pay the rent, with not having a possibility to have someone for your child, you know. It's you make it. I made it, you know, because this is like your standard, or you want to make it good. You have to make it good because it's, you owe it to the people. I really owe it to the my DOP, or to the people I should. This is like the most important thing, to make it good. But this is actually not how it should be. You know, I'm making a part of European culture. I make some kind of art, a small piece of art. I try to make it, and it has to be valued somehow, you know. And it's now, so, you know, I have been on Berlinale on a big presentation of television party where everybody was drinking champagne, and there was like our co-production with the Berlinale Garagenvolk, and it's like, you know, you could laugh about this, you know, not having any budget for this kind of documentaries, but then being proud.
Yeah. So yeah, there is a sense of absurdity to it, I think. This a paradox that
it's a kind of paradox, and also that you get your fee, your small fee, you know, and then you're not having any rights anymore on the end of the film. So the thing is, it's also some kind of paradox. If you want someone to make a good product, to walk till the, you know, you walk till the last title, you fight for the last title, and then you're not having any rights. I don't even have a version on my computer of the film, you know. I'm not allowed to have any version of it. So it's like a paradox of this system, and it's not a big fiction movie. It's a documentary where I was alone in Russia with my DOP, with the sound person. So we were 3 people shooting it. It was not a big team, you know, like a big business. And then you are kind of you give it away. It's like, this is the reality.
Yeah. So hopefully this reality will change with time, and we cannot break the system. But I hope that this film would break or will break the festival circle, and will get to broader audience.
Yeah, because this is the most important for me, that a lot of people watch it. This is the most important.
So thank you so much, because for us you did change something, and thank you for being part of DoCaViv this year, and we really hope to see you again in our circle at least. So thank you so much. Have a great day, Natalia.
Okay, you too.
And bye everyone. Bye bye.